Parampara Shruti Smriti Purana Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatam Shankaram Yoga Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharya Keshavam Padarayanam Sutrapashya Kritam Bhante Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Bhatmeti Mukti Veda Vibhagini Yogmagandhya Dhanihaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sadhana Bhavatu Sadhana Bhunaktu Sadhavidam Karamavate Tejasvina Pradikamas Madhikveshavadai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Invoking the grace of Lord Dakshinamurti, the Adi-Guru, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, who as Swamiji said, I was blessed to sit on his lap and be his student when we went to the course. My Acharya, Swami Svatmavidyananda, of course, dear Swami Svatmavidyananda, I use grace for here today. Our text is on page 12 of the booklet. We won't even read the text today. Sadhana Panchakam is attributed to Adi Shankara. That's usually it. And so, once upon a time, Adi Shankaracharya was born in Kerala, Kaladi, Kerala. He traveled to Omkareshwar to his teacher, which is named, trick question, who's Adi Shankaracharya's teacher? Govinda Padacharya. People say Gauda Padacharya. That's his great grand. So Govinda Padacharya, he studied there, and then Adi Shankaracharya traveled throughout the country. So there's a text called Digvijaya where we follow the travels of the Acharya. Adi Shankara was in Kedarnath when he was ready to take Samadhi. His students who were near him asked the Acharya, please teach me the essence of all sadhana. What are the essence of the spiritual practices by which a mumukshu can attain moksha? What he said is the text of Sadhana Panchakam. So Sadhana Panchakam is the essence of sadhanas that a mukshu can use to attain moksha. It's supposed to be the last text taught by Adi Shankaracharya. And so we look at the name, Panchakam. What does Panchakam mean? That which packs a punch, right? That's what Swami says. That which packs a punch. But of course, what we know it means that it's a collection of five. You punch with five hands, right? Five. There's many texts that have this type of naming, right? Other types of Panchakam, Maya Panchakam. And then we have Shatkams. Anyone know any Shatkam? What's the name of a text with Shatkam? Nirvana Shatkam, that's the famous one. Mano Buddhya Hankara Chitta. 7 verses are not popular. 8 verses. Panchakam. Okay, you're awake today. Panchakam, Krishnashtakam verses. 9 verses not popular, some there's 10 verses. But these verses are very much packed. Each verse, 5 verses, have 8 instructions given in them. So how many instructions are we given? 40 instructions. We could spend the whole week with verse 1. When we studied in ashram, that's what it would take many classes on this one verse. So if I'm moving slowly, just relax. What rush are we in to finish the text? It's about the quality, the depth at which we go, and it's about living in it. Vedanta, we all have hard drives full of Vedanta. We all have so many books, but it stays there. And so it's about sitting with each instruction and imbibing that Vedanta. So what is the topic of the Panchakam? Sadhanam. This is the neutral words. Sadhanam. And the sadhanam, we can translate loosely as a spiritual discipline. As a, I don't want to be loose. How about let's not be loose. The word sadhana comes from the root. Every word has a root. Saad. S-A-D-H. Don't come and tell me that the root is sad. No. Sad. Mahaprana. My teacher in when I was studying in India, his name was Svatmavidyananda. And he puts this. Your teacher's name is Sad Atma? Not Sad Atma. Sad, but not Sad Atma. Sad. So the root dhatu, the sad means to accomplish. To accomplish. And then you say sadhyate anena iti sadhanam. It's the instrument, it's the means by which I accomplish something. The instruments, the means by which I accomplish. Okay. So, the sadhana. So, an example of that. Who can I pick on? I know I can pick on Kirti. Her name itself, she's famous, Kirti. So, Kirti came from Atlanta to Pittsburgh. What is the sadhana by which she achieved her goal? Airplane. Airplane. She took the airplane to get here. And then she took a car. So 2 sadhanas. And then she walked into the hotel. 3 sadhanas. But the main sadhana was that she flew. Right? So it's the means by which she accomplished her goal. So now, this is all vocabulary lessons. If I have a sadhana, we have to examine another word called sadhya. Sadhana only makes sense when you know what the sadhya. Sadhya is that which is accomplished. The goal or destination. That which I want to accomplish, that which I want to achieve. So in the example, what's the sadhya for Kirti? Bentleyville. Bentleyville is the sadhya by which she used the sadhanam of an airplane to reach Bentleyville. So sadhya we understood. Then there's one more word. Sadhaka. Sadhaka. It's the achiever. ER, yeah. The one who wants to achieve something. The one who wants to accomplish something. The accomplisher, the achiever, the one who wants to gain something. So, in the example, our sadhya is beneficial. Our sadhana is and the sadhaka is kirti. Clear?
Yes.
So now we have to come to what is our sadhya? What is our goal to accomplish? We very serious Vedanta student, which is Swamiji would say, very scared of serious Vedanta student. Our Shastra, if I ask anyone in this room, what is your goal in life? Now, all of you will say moksha because you're trained that. If I ask you in a different setting, I call you at 3 a.m., you say, I'm trying to pay my mortgage. I'm trying to max out my 401. I'm trying to have a child. I'm trying to get healthy. I'm trying to get my son or daughter married. I'm trying to retire somewhere. And if I ask all of you, you can have 35 different goals. But our Shastra is very systematic. So they examine, you look at all of your experience, there's 4 goals, right? 4 Purusha. Swamiji has covered all this, but as part of the text we covered again. But the first goal that we have is artha, that I need some security. I need to feel secure. Maslow's bottom of the pyramid, right? So I need to feel that I have a place, a shelter. I need to be secure from the elements outside. So I need shelter, I need clothing. I need some food so I feel security in my body. So that stability, that security, I aim for. So I work hard to do it. Kapra, roti, makan. All of this is taken care of. So that's why we work, right? We work so we have enough money so we can buy all these things, we can have some security. But then security is not enough. Shivam, I'm bored. People always say, I'm bored. The most boring thing is saying you're bored. I need some fun in my life. What is this Vedanta stuff? I need some fun. So then we have Kama, the pursuit of pleasure. And so I want, now not just a house, but I want a house with more bedrooms than bathrooms. I want a house, more bathrooms than people. How about that? I want, not only can I want to watch TV, but then I want to be able to watch what I want on demand. So then I have Netflix. But then Netflix gets boring, so I want Hulu. And then Hulu gets boring, so I get HBO. And I just keep going. I want so much pleasure in life. Okay, Shastra says, fine, let's do that. And then there's the next, we have Dharma. And Dharma is the pursuit of ethics, and that by which I get punya, that invisible grace. So this whole, I'm getting bored of the TV, and I heard Swami just said, if I go to a different loka, I can get 10 times. 100. And then 100. And then 100 times that happens. So then I become lokasti. And so then I do all that it takes to get maximum. I max them out my, just like I max my 401k, I max out my punya. And so that I can continue to get good things in life. Right? So this is the one aspect of it. These three are what we call prayas, pursuit of prayas. Why prayas? Because of our desires, they know they can prey on us. Our insecurity, then we can be sold. Our lack of pleasure, we are prey. We can be sold. Our lack of dharma, then we can be sold priests. They prey on us. Now, as people who inquire into it, we can see that these three pursuits have certain limitations. Examine your experience. Don't just take my word for it. Right? That if I look at any of these three, the first problem that I have is they are anitya. They're temporary. I can have some security until it's not there. Right? First, we kept our doors unlocked. I remember in our town also we just never locked our. We lived near that neighborhood. It was so safe. Just leave your door up. And then we added a lock to the door. And then we added not only the lock didn't work, but then I had to add a ring camera. Exactly. I'm afraid of who's going to ring my doorbell, so I have to see them first. Is it the Amazon delivery person or someone who's going to steal my Amazon package? The security is so limited. And so this is why we have to keep working to try to feel more. So that, anitya, and then we say that dukkha mishrita. Dukkha mishrita. All of these pursuits are fraught, mishrita. Mishrita means mixed up with dukkha, some sort of difficulty, pain. This is the story of the Buddha. The Buddha had it all. The kingdom, the marriage, the wealth. And he woke up one day and was not. He realized, I'm not content. What is all of this? It's a very scary thing when the day that you realize that none of this will give you content. But it's also the most freeing. Dukkha mishrita, that to gain money, we all have to work hard. I know that all grahasthas here, so work hard. But I found that it's harder to maintain your money than to make money. So sometimes. So not only you have to make money, then you have to figure out how do I invest my money to beat inflation. Now you're like, okay, yeah, right. This is becoming a finance talk. And then it goes away. Dukkha mishrita. To gain dukkha, to maintain dukkha. When it goes away, dukkha. We recently bought a house. Buying it to find the house, dukkha. To maintain, maha dukkha. I found it need 3 plumbers. One you can call an emergency, one you can call regularly, and one just for fun. To fix it. And then to sell the house, maha dukkha. So dukkha mishrita. And then we say that there's also, we find that atriptikara. Atriptikara. It's not giving me tripti. It's not satisfactory. It doesn't satisfy. Again, the Netflix example is that we put off. It's so exciting until you finish all the shows. You spend 40 minutes trying to find the next show. This is not satisfying. The food is not satisfying. I found my house is not satisfying. I found my spouse is not satisfying. We look at these billionaires, Gates, Bezos, Musk, because Swamiji mentioned all of them ended their marriage and started remarried. They all keep buying houses. They keep buying rockets to go to different planets because they're so unsatisfied. So we look at these pursuits and we know that they're anitya, they are dukkha mishrita, they're atriptikara. Are we satisfied with that? No. You can't be satisfied with that because the fundamental problem that we have is not having this. We talked about the fundamental problem, the fundamental psychological diagnosis that we all have is that I have this lack mindset. What Swamiji was calling the inadequacy, the scarcity mindset. I have this scarcity and I operate that psychological wound that we're born with. I operate from there. So I'm always lacking something. But I'm not comfortable with lacking. I'm not comfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's a dis-ease. I'm not at ease, dis-ease. And so I have to get rid of my comfort. So if I'm lacking, there's a hole in the side in my heart that's the size of an iPhone. So I need to go buy an iPhone to fill. There's a hole in the size in my heart. It's the size of a house. So I need to buy. There's a hole that looks for a partner, and then the son, and the son-in-law, and then X, Y, Z. Right? We keep going, and we keep buying things, and we keep doing things, and we keep going places, and then we have what we call a bucket list. Things to check off before you kick the bucket. Right? I have all these things that I need to do. I don't feel satisfied in this discomfort, in the sense of lack. And so, remember, what are we looking at? We're looking at the word sadhya. Sadhya, these goals. We saw that we have artha, kama, dharma. And now, what we're saying is that I don't want to pursue that freedom from lack indirectly. Right now, I'm seeking that freedom from lack through all these things, and they go away. That lack goes away temporarily. We're not stupid. That's why we buy these things. It does go away for a short period of time. And so I want to pursue that freedom from a lack directly. This is what makes us spiritualists. I'm tired of seeking that freedom from lack indirectly and temporary. I want that freedom from lack to be there all the time and in all places. This is what we call moksha. Right? Moksha is freedom. The word moksha means freedom. Freedom from what? The sense of lack. When? All the time. Where? In all places. And so so the sadhya we refine. My goal is now we can say, what is my goal? Freedom from pollution. What is my goal? Freedom from pollution. Yeah. Freedom from the sense of living. In relation to that, who is the sadhaka? A mumukshu. Mumukshu is the desirer of moksha, the one who desires moksha. So you now see how we've refined these words. The sadhaka is the mumukshu, the sadhya is moksha. Now we have to figure out what is that gap? Sadhana. Sadhana. Now, to choose the appropriate sadhana, I have to examine the gap between the sadhaka and the sadhya. Right? So when Kirti was figuring out how to travel to Bentleyville, she examined the gap between the sadhaka and the sadhya. Would a car cut it? No, it's too far. So I need to choose the appropriate sadhana. I'm going to choose the appropriate flight to get here. Similarly, we have to figure out what's the distance between me and my moksha. Now, there's three types of distances that we usually see. One is in terms of space. Deshataha. There's desha. In terms of space, there's some distance. So between Atlanta and Bentleyville, there's some distance. So deshata. Between here and Bahamas, there's distance. And so I have to do something to transverse that distance. There's also kala. Kala, there's in terms of time. Remember when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to be an adult. Make my own decisions. So you think when you're a kid, you think 20 years old is so old. Can't wait till I'm 20 years old. It was arbitrary. So what's the gap between the kid and the goal? Right? Time. You can't transport somewhere. You have to wait. You just have to wait. Right? You just wait. Some things in our life, we just wait. And so is moksha something? And I know we all know this, but we have to understand very clearly. Again, this is not something that's living in the book. We have to examine our experience. If I'm seeking freedom, is it something that's distant from me in terms of space? Well, there are people that will tell you that. In the spiritual marketplace, they say, to come to Uttarkashi, you can meditate and you'll be free. They become travel agents at Swamis. No problem. We do our namaskar. Then, kalataha, if we wait long enough, will we gain moksha? We've all waited a long time already. It doesn't seem to be coming. It's not that we're just going to trip over moksha. There's a third thing that's like gunataha. There's a quality that we can gain. There's sometimes a gap between quality. So if I want monetary wealth, that's a quality that I can go out and gain. So I can gain my guna. Someone recently said, Shivam, I'm so pale in the winter. I want to go tan myself. It's a quality that between me and my tan self, it's a quality that I can gain. It's like a good at that. You can't tan your way to moksha. There's no quality I can get. So the fourth distance, the fourth gap, is that of ajna, of ignorance. This is the word we have to learn. That sometimes there's a gap between me and something, but not because of time, not because of space, not because of equality, but because of ignorance. And so a real-time example happened yesterday. I was walking around before you all got here. And I couldn't find my key. So I was looking in my bag. I went to the car and I couldn't find my hotel key. I didn't want to ask the front desk guy because I just got it. I didn't want to ask him. I was looking everywhere. And then finally I realized it was in my kurta pocket. Not my pants, kurta pocket. What's the distance between me and my key? Not in terms of space, not in terms of time, but ignorance. I had it all the way. I had it all the time. It was with me. I disowned it because of I also, the example of the person sitting on the treasure. Swamiji. You're sitting on the treasure. You don't know that. So but the traditional example that we give is the 10th woman, 10th student. We could change it. But there are 10 students who are in a Gurukula, and the Guru chooses one leader student. So he chooses one girl to lead the students to the neighboring ashram for diksha. So this girl takes this responsibility very seriously. She takes them, then they have to cross the river. And she knows in the back of her mind, if I mess this up, my guru will never trust me. And so they cross the river and she counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One sweat drop. Okay, let me organize them back. 1, 2, 3, 9. Okay, that's not good. I think I lost one. So she sent 2 to the north, 2 to the west, 2 to the east, 2 to the south, and 1 to stay with her to give them moral support. And they went and they searched and they couldn't. Okay, they didn't find. Let's do japa. Let's chant. Maybe this person will come. When Swamini was walking across the road watching all of this happen, she came in. She said, do you need some help? Yeah, we lost it. I'll solve your problem. Dashamo, see, you are the 10th. You are the 10th. That the gap between the girl and the 10th one, she thought it was in terms of space. She thought it was maybe in terms of time will come. Maybe guna, if I pray and I'll get some punya and then it'll come. But the distance between her and the sat was just one of the. We've all heard this story. But what a beautiful story. Vedanta's yelling at the top of its lungs, you are what you seek. You are what you seek. You keep running, you keep finding, and you keep searching, and you keep seeking. But the distance between you and what you are seeking is one of ignorance. Meaning that you are already there, but maybe you disown. Just like me and the key. The key was there, but I disowned. And so, first we said that the sadhya is moksha. The sadhaka is, you can tell. No, not you. Mumukshu, the desire of moksha. And if ignorance is the gap between the mumukshu and moksha, what's the only thing to remove ignorance? Yeah. Now we've landed. The first class in Vedanta is all about landing to the. So, jnanam, we need knowledge to remove the ignorance between the seeker and the sought. Not knowledge of chemistry, not knowledge of physics, not knowledge of psychology, not knowledge of medicine. It's knowledge of yourself. Because the self is what I don't know truly. Now, we refine a little bit further. So, if knowledge is the only thing that will give me moksha. My new goal is knowledge. So for moksha, our sadhyam, we refine that to jnana. Our sadhyam becomes jnana. Moksha is, you could enlightenment. Whatever, we don't know what that means. When I was joking yesterday, I was saying over this course of the week, we may not get enlightened, but we'll become heavier, not lighter, because of the good food. So we refine what does moksha mean? It means gaining self-knowledge. So our sadhya becomes Atma-dhyanam, Brahma-dhyanam. Then the sadhaka is now refined to a jignasu, a desire of knowledge. So from a mukshu, I become a jignasu. This is a huge step. I stop seeking moksha through all these other things. So I seek through knowledge. So muksha becomes a jignasu. The goal becomes from moksha to jnana. So jignasu desires knowledge. Now what's the sadhana to catch me from jignasu to jnanam? That's what we call Shivam. The thing that will give me this knowledge, we have to be very clear. The thing that will give me this knowledge is not through a mystical experience, is not through some type of meditation. It's only that gap is filled only through Shivam, through listening and studying. And they say Shravana, listening. They don't say Patana. They don't say reading. And we all have so many books in our house. And you can read a book, but when you read the book, you read through your ego. And so the ego will interpret the words in a way that's convenient to the ego. And so the defense of the ego is that it doesn't want to be destroyed. The ego doesn't want to go away. The ego's main job is to preserve the ego. And so we use the ego and we try to study on our own. You'll gain the word knowledge. You'll gain the right words to say. You'll be able to sit in this chair and give a lecture. But the operation of the pramana will take place. The microsurgery that's needed is not going to happen. It's like you can't do therapy on yourself. You're going to be. And so we require Shravana, we require listening to a teacher. And the best thing is doing it live. Right? You get that, not only do you get the words, but you get the visual. And as we're seeing that, we also learn from the ways of being. So Shravana. So that's what we call the Sakshat Sadhana. Sakshat Sadhana. Some people hear like fancy words. So I give the fancy words. If you don't want the fancy words, just hear that. But Sakshat Sadhana is the direct means, the only direct means for our sadhya of jnana is Shravana. Now, there's these auxiliary things. We have, for example, we have mananam. Mananam is, once I've understood, I might have some doubts. And so I remove those doubts through mananam. Because an understanding full of doubts is basically not understood. Like if you said, how do I get from Bentleyville to the city of Pittsburgh? And I said, I think you take 70 west, which is not true. I think you take 70. You think? because that's not helpful to me. I need to know, because a understanding full of doubts is not helpful to me. So we refine our understanding. That's why we have Q&A. That's why we get to approach the teacher. That's why we keep asking and asking and asking. There was me and my fellow student when we were in Anekati and studying Swamiji. They would call us Brahmachari Prashna. Brahmacharis who keep asking questions. Prashna Brahmachari. Because that's what you do. You keep refining your understanding until it can't be refined anymore. It becomes as clear as the fruit in your hand. Hasta malakava. So, like the apple in your hand. The apple on my hand. Hasta malakava. Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. I have these wrong orientations, these habitual errors that I know that there's this, I know that I'm Atma. I know that I'm, Swamiji said today, right? I know that I am sentient all the time. I know that I exist all the time. I know that I'm Atma. I have clarity in this. Satchitananda, it's not just a saying, I have clarity in this. But I'm used to be told I'm an idiot. I'm used to be that I'm this body. And so when I wake up in the morning and my back catches itself, I don't think I am Satchitananda. I think this stupid body. I'm in pain. When someone gets mad at me, I feel hurt. And so the process of nididhyasana is that we move the content from the conscious to deep, also permeating the unconscious as well. That it's there in the background of all training action. Using psychological. The mind is like an iceberg. A lot of the content of the mind is underneath the water. You cannot see. You don't know what's happening in it. Just a small percentage is what we know consciously, that we're aware of our thoughts, emotions. You can tell me how are you feeling. But most of what you're feeling, most of what you're thinking is unknown, unconscious. And so even though we know this Vedanta, when the rubber meets the road, it seems to disappear. I'm anxious all of a sudden. I don't know why. I've been studying for 10 years, but I still get mad at my spouse because habitual. They say a habit is such that if you remove the H, what remains? A bit. If you remove the A, what remains? Bit. If you remove the B, what remains? It always remains. And so this habit of taking ourselves to be what we are not. So nididhyasana, shravanam, mananidhyasana, but shravanam is the main thing because only then do we find these things. This is our sakshat sadhana, but there's also to prepare us for the sakshat sadhana, we have a secondary. The fancy word is sahakari sadhana. Sahakari or parampara sadhana. That which helps us, prepares us for the sakshat. That which prepares us for shravan. So we need to prepare our mind before we enter into shravan. So I'm just going to keep doing our sadhaka is now a jnyasu. Our sadhya is jnanam. And the sadhana is shravanam, sakshat. But now we have a sahakari sadhana, the secondary means. We prepare our mind for the shravana. And so we prepare our minds because they say our mind is full of impure. I'm not a big fan of that word, impure. But that impurities of our mind. What's the main impurity of our mind? Anybody know? Ragadvesha. This is the psychology of the Gita is the psychology of Ragadvesha. That we're constantly wanting something and we're constantly wanting to get away from something. Raga, I have an attachment, I want this thing. Vesha, I have this aversion. The content of this will be taught in Gita class on Swami. That the way I free myself from constantly wanting something and wanting to run away from something is through karma yoga. The practice of karma yoga is one of the main sahakari sadhanas, the one main way of preparing our mind. That instead of allowing my raga and dvesha to rule me, I have some will and I have some ability to control my mind and my heart. So that Shri Arjuna, he says, Anichannapi Varshne. He says, even though we don't want to do something, what is that which makes me do? Sri Krishna says, and now, so this is what we call Chitta Shuddhi, the purification of the mind. I'm purifying my mind. This is the process of Chitta Shuddhi. I'm purifying my mind through Karma Yoga, through Dhyana Yoga. I'm meditating and I'm purifying my mind. That's actually, hold off on meditation. Mainly, let's stick with Karma Yoga. We can include bhakti in there as well. Devotional practices, all part of Karma Yoga, not separate. So I practice devotional activities. I live a life of contribution. All of these things I do as part of preparing. The other piece we have is Chitta Naishchalya. Chitta Naishchalya is the other way of preparing them. Chitta Naishchalya means the concentration of them. Naishchalya means Nishchala. Chala means moving, Nish, not moving. The mind which does not move. So concentration and focus becomes a goal of ours as well. Even in this class, right? We need concentration and focus. It's not easy to follow the training. I'm making it really easy. But sometimes in Vedanta class, the teacher will go all the way to another verse and go for a whole other story. Then you have to remember where you started. A practice that I ask you is that this is a challenge. After the class ends, you should be able to follow the whole logic of the class. Our Acharya, we had, when we were studying in the Gurukula, we had 6.5 days of class. And in the half day we had off, we still went to our teacher. And we would do Q&A, but not Q&A where we would ask the teacher would ask us questions, so reverse Q&A. So we would sit with Swamiji, and he would tell us the verse, and he would say, start. What's this word, and where do we start with the logic? And we would have to go back through the whole week's worth of classes and refine. You don't need to be that much of a nerd. Just we refine our mind that we can have some focus and attention, because that's the hardest thing. One of the hardest is that we have so many things that are trying to pull our attention. So much so that we have this word, the attention economy. That people are making money. All these apps are free. Not really. You're paying with your attention. They spend a ton of money to maximize the amount of eyeballs that will be on something for the longest period of time. So the algorithm is geared towards keeping you there for longer. If you catch yourself zoned out on your phone for a long period of time, that's because people put billions of dollars to make you do. Not your fault. They know more psychology than you do. They know that they'll feed you something happy and then feed you something sad. And if you do something happy in the end, you'll know that you'll stay there longer because you felt not good a moment or. This is now going on a whole technology. See, attention and focus. Where did we start? Attention and focus. That the rate of ADHD is one of the highest. The diagnosis is skyrocketing because we're better at catching it, but also because we have more things fracturing our attention. I'm saying all this because it's more so important nowadays than ever that we learn to develop attention and focus. This is not only Chitta Shuddhi, but Chitta Naishchalyam, where we learn to do meditation. We learn to be with us. We learn to sit with us. That when I'm sitting alone on a bus or on a train or in the car, I don't need to grab something. I learn to be with us. That's a practice. This takes time. And Swamiji has a gift for you at the end, which will help with that, but I won't reveal it. So Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Naishchalya are the two ways that we prepare our mind for this trip, for this study. So we're all backdoor entries. We all just started studying Vedanta. We entered through the back door. We just said, teach me Upanishad. That's right. We all were like, teach me Gita. I just want to jump into it. So the teacher has to teach you that and then teach you how to prepare yourself for that as well. So we have to do double work. Not me, but we all, right? As the student, we have to do that double work because we're entering through the back door. So this Sadhana Panchakam, the main thing it's going to teach is Sahakari Sadhana, the secondary practices of Chitta Shuddhi, how to prepare our mind, and Chitta Naishchalya, how to retain attention and focus. That's the main thing. It'll teach us practices to prepare our mind more. This is also Karma Yoga that we're going to be learning in the Gita. This is a way of living Karma Yoga as well. Because people will say, oh, Vedanta is not very practical. I want the practice. You have to use your hand on practice. I want something practical. This is very practical. Very practical. And so it'll teach us very specific practices on what to do. So it will also comment on the Sakshat Sadhana, the main thing about Atmajnanam does come in this also, but it's not highlighted as much. Knowing me and knowing the teachers, that will come also. And we'll also see some Atmajnanam in these persons. But the main thing is that we're going to see some of these Chitta Shuddhi. So we'll chant our first verse on page 12. The page is on the top right. You need a book, they're up here. Vedo Madhyatam Vedo Nityamadhyatam Tadhuditam Karmasvanushthiyata Vedo Nityamadhiyatam Tadhuditam Karmasvanushthiyata Vedo Nityamadhiyatam Tadhuditam Karmasvanushthiyata Teneshasya vidhiyatampapachitihi. Teneshasya vidhiyatampapachitihi. Kamye matistyajyatam. Kamye matistyajyatam. Teneshasya vidhiyatampapachitihi. Kamye matistyajyatam. Teneshasya vidhiyatampapachitihi. Kamye matistyajyatam. Pāpauka paridhuyatam bhavasukhe. Pāpauka paridhuyatam bhavasukhe. So you see Pāpaugaha paridhuyatam. When you have the visarga next to a pakara, it becomes fa. So Pāpauka paridhuyatam. Bhavasukhe dosho nusandhiyatam. Bhavasukhe dosho nusandhiyatam. Papoga panidhuyatam. Bhavasukhe dosho nusandhiyatam. Papoga panidhuyatam. Bhavasukhe dosho nusandhiyatam. Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat. Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat. Purnam vidyargamyatam. Purnam vidyargamyatam. Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat. Purnam vinirgamyatam. Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat. Purnam vinirgamyatam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So our schedule, page 1. We'll have lunch now. It's a few volunteers can help set up the lunch and clear afterwards as well. So if you can just be aware of that, we can have some volunteers to help set that up. We have time for rest, reflection. So the suggestion is to go over some of your notes, remember what we talked about, sit with it, and nap if you need to. And then we'll have a discussion at 2:15 to 3. This is optional for those who want to join. The idea is that I'll raise 2 or 3 questions, and we'll have groups loosely based on age. So younger people will be in one group, and then a little bit also young people will be very careful. We'll be separate. And then we'll raise the same questions, and so the group will hold the question together. And so this is a little bit of bringing it to our life and refining it more. Right? Because we go to the camps and we just go to the next class, and then it's like the file gets loaded and then it gets deleted. Trying to get the continuation, so we'll have that discussion here at 2:15 to 3. And then you can get changed for yoga class and bring all that in, and you could help them get set up in any way, and we'll have yoga in the back. Our teachers for yoga class are Jalbandi and Shuka, and they're great. And so it's going to be a challenging but not too challenging class. But you're sitting a lot for a lot of hours, so it's good to move your body in some way. So even if, please come to the yoga, or if you need, and also try to take a walk around the buildings another time. 4:30 to 5:30 our class. 5:30 to 6 we'll do arti here. 6:15 again, people can help set up for dinner, and 6:15 dinner, and then sunset. Any questions on the schedule, any logistics, anything? If you have a yoga mat, you can bring it. If you don't,
bring a towel.
Bring a towel from the room. Use the same towel every day, though. Don't keep asking the staff for new towels for your yoga. So keep that separate.
Yeah.
Anything else? Chris, anything else?
Please. So, Swaminiji's Bhiksha is going to happen in the room opposite to the reception.